Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Rich. All right, welcome to Super Fun Sunday. What do we have here? Oh, you know what we have here if you follow me on Instagram. We have Moebius. Chaos. This is going to be a good one. So, let's get into this. Super Fun Sunday is going to be super fun. Super fun. My voice is a little trash this morning. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hit those notes. At least not this early. It's early. Uh, yeah, so there's a series of these hardcover books by Epic, and they're definitely worth seeking out if you don't have them. I only have a couple out in my office. One is called Metallic, I think. Hold on, where is it? Metallic Memories. There's, like, if you look for the Moebius Epic books, you'll find them. I think there's four of these hardcovers. And yeah, this will just be really really fun. We're gonna look at some great looking art and you know just enjoy it. So we'll see. It's a really really great cover. It's interesting too. If you like, it's hard because there's not a ton of interviews all total that you'll find from Jean Giraud. But the same kind of goes for someone like Frazetta, where it's like there's just a small handful of interviews with these kind of master artists, and it's always kind of cool when they're asked about people. And I know, like, in one of the Frazetta interviews that I had seen, they asked him about Jack Kirby of all people, and Frank, said that he thought Jack was really really good. But I don't know, for some reason on this cover it just reminded me a little bit of like Jack Kirby, but Kirby and Jean Giraud may have had just similar sort of, inspirations for design and stuff like that. But so this pattern kind of has a little bit of a, like, Inhumans feel. So these were published in '91, and yeah, we used to have a lot of really really good comic book stores in San Diego. So between the like five or six that were here, one in particular, Comic Castle, had a lot of this kind of stuff, which I loved, and it was kind of the stuff that I was drawn to really really early on. Was kind of more the illustrated stuff. I like the poppy comics too, though. To be clear, but if I would see Bill Sienkiewicz or Kent Williams or that kind of stuff, that definitely had an appeal to me. And then anyone that was like painting comics and stuff, I was always like, oh man, this is crazy. This is some extra stuff I have in the book. I'll just show it to you really quick. I'm not even sure what oh, so this was from a heavy metal magazine, but they're nice pages. I would just save random stuff. If the whole magazine really wasn't to my interest, but there was like one short story, I would just yank it out. I was pretty brutal with this stuff because it's for me. I don't really intend to generally flip any of the stuff that I buy that I like. So it's like, it's just, I'll own it until I'm gone, and then they can part out my collection any way that they want, whoever they are, the government. Dude, that's so awesome. Hopefully, I'm seeing like a little bit of a blur on my camera. I'm hoping that the screen is clean. I cleaned it before I start the videos just to make sure that there's nothing going on. I was actually friends with the owner of Humanoids for a while, and also kind of one of their top editors. And it was cool. He'd sent me a ton of books too, so that was really really neat, and really kind of expanded my Humanoids collection quite a bit. So I Google him. He's kind of not online as much as I wish, because it would be cool to talk to those guys now. This page is a little translucent, so I wanted to try to get it behind something where you can actually see the art. So this is Airtight Garage. These were actually compiled in a few different versions too. So most of this stuff, I mean, they've repackaged, and sometimes it's colored. Sometimes, man, that's so awesome. It's really interesting, I think, following art now, because it's such a like there's such a like wide spectrum of stuff that you can see in a day. It's kind of like, I honestly, the more that I see it, the more I actually sort of go away from it. It sounds weird, but I can't. all the input in my brain just gets confusing, and it's like I have to really like dumb it down for me personally. So stuff like Instagram and stuff like that honestly is really more of a distraction, and it just puts more sort of random stuff in my head that I don't want to see. I've talked about it with close friends before, but even looking at stuff that I like, there's points where I just shut it down and I won't look at it because it's sending mixed signals to my brain. It has nothing to do with Moebius, but just in general. Um, yeah, I think if you're really gonna draw a lot, I don't know. At least for me, you just need to focus on your own art. It's a hard. It's kind of like Arthur Adams. It's funny. I know it's just a coincidence, but it's funny. The Mole Man. Or something. Uh, yeah. Be curious of how much like Jean Giraud was he a huge fan of art, or was he just sort of immersed kind of in his own world of creation? You can never tell. And everybody's wired differently, but for me, especially now, like I said, it's one thing to have a huge book collection, which again was being neglected, and 100% why I started doing these videos is it seemed like the only way that I would ever look at this stuff was if I actually did a video. This is so beautiful. But yeah, I'm just finding with like looking at art online, it's fun and I love following stuff, but I just really don't want to see it. Sounds so bad. It's not a hater thing. It's just honestly, it just makes it confusing. All right, so we're getting into the book now. So I don't know if the collection itself represents chaos, like that was the goal of the pieces that are put into this book represent chaos. It could be. I'm honestly not sure. That's cool. You get the thumbnail of it. And I do always kind of throw this out there if I remember it is this channel is entertainment. If there's any kind of educational value you get from it, it's more just coincidental. And I would honestly just recommend that you sort of make your own opinions on things. Don't take anything that I say as having any value other than entertainment, because it's I'm doing a narrative. I have to say something. Oh, this is really cool. But both sides of the pages are actually really cool. Man, that's so cool. Another artist to check out, and it's like you'll have a moment where it will look cool to you, but it doesn't always happen right away. Is Robert Crumb. I always knew who Robert Crumb's work was, but there was just a point where I kind of turned a corner on it, and I was able to appreciate it kind of a deeper level. It was kind of a long time ago, but he is really really good, and his body of work is pretty insane. So it's like it's not as kind of quote unquote cool as Moebius, with the sci-fi and all that stuff. But Crumb is definitely a badass. There's no two ways about it. I think what it is why he would even come to mind on top of the fact that there's some similar rendering sort of effects, but they seem like people that just love to draw, and it's like sort of like that's how they kind of communicate and sort of exist. Like breathing for them is drawing, so it's a pretty cool thing to see, inspiring. And maybe honestly that would be the takeaway is just be inspired to draw. Look at it as like, you get up and you drink water and you exercise and you eat food and you breathe and you draw, and you express ideas and get things out that way. It's musicians do the same thing, poets, be inspired by the art but not influenced by it. I think that's an important distinction. It's not so easy to do though, you know. It's pretty cool. Yeah, the way that I would look at books before I started the YouTube channel was really weird. I used to talk about it. In fact, I was going to say this too. For sure, check out my Patreon if you like YouTube. I don't like to plug it, but it's a necessity too. But I noticed I have 755 videos up on YouTube, and there's probably only 200 that you see on YouTube. So you do the math. The Patreon has got a ton of videos, and for $1, you can get in and get tons and tons of videos. We're working on perspective, figure drawing. We're breaking down script to page with a Neil Gaiman script right now. Really, really good stuff. I mean, if you're into drawing and want to learn to draw better, it would definitely be something I would check out. But yeah, so before I started the YouTube channel, I would never ever look at my books, like almost never. I would buy brand new books and almost never open them. I always wanted them. I wanted them in my collection. I wanted to have them here. There was a level of like interest in them, but when ultimately I had the book here, there were so many books that I had looked at, a couple of pages, or I had never opened them up. It was really weird, and I mean, I can't really explain what that is or why it happens. And so when I would look at books, I would flip through them so fast. It was really weird. And I would see myself do it. I would have like, a 500-page book or a 300-page art book. And I would just flip through it. There was one in particular I had, it was the Society of Illustrators, like a painter's book. And granted, there were probably a lot of paintings in it that weren't of interest to me, but man, I would go through that book so fast. And even if I saw a piece that I liked, I wouldn't really break it down. I would just go like, okay, that's really cool. I love the setting. I love the mood or whatever it was. And that was kind of it. So open that book is how Super Fun Sunday came about. So I wonder too with Jean Giraud, was this all like I know some of it was for particular things, but was there a point in his career where he completely just did whatever he wanted? I know that he worked on Blueberry for like a long time, but like was there a point when Blueberry was done and then no, he still was doing stories though. Man, that is great. Really nice figure. God, man. That is so cool. Look at that. Really zoom in. That's pretty nuts, I have to say. It's a deadweight line, but it gets a beautiful, beautiful effect. Holy shit. That is crazy. Is this... There's some Zipatone that does this. That's what I think it is. This is a Zipatone. Or whatever. One of those things. Like... Man, that is so wild. Am I wrong or am I right, though? There's no way that those lines are drawn. That is nuts. Yeah, I think that this is some kind of a Zipatone on the page, but boy, I'll tell you what a great effect. This is a different type. I think I had seen that type of zip before. Okay, Wonders of the Universe. Oh, this is so cool. I was originally going to do Batman Dark Knight Artist Edition again, or whatever it's called, Gallery Edition. I don't know why. I've been wanting to look at that book, and for whatever reason, I won't do it on my own. So at least you guys know I'm not lying about this. But I was like, well, if I do, if I do a video of it, I'll check it out. It's so funny. I'm weird, but if you know you're weird, then you can find workarounds. That's the key. That's really cool. God, I love that sketch. That is so awesome. I told this story before. When I was in first grade, I got to school one day early, and math homework was due. And I hadn't done it. And I helped another kid do their math homework, and I still didn't do mine. But that's sort of in a nutshell, I think, how I'm wired. It's like, well, I'll do it for someone else. Man, this is so cool. I love when he does the color work too, because it's like, man, he really lays it down great. This is cool. these books are just so interesting. I love that it's so random and just ideas. That's really cool. This would be a great exercise. Honestly, I would recommend this for people that maybe are having trouble drawing. If you struggle with figure drawing and anatomy, and you kind of feel like, I can't draw faces good, try to do a little series of drawings like this. Just take a single character in silhouette and try to move it around and see if you can actually get somewhat believable little poses and gestures. Run it around, but make up little stories of just little mundane things that it could be doing, or send it on a little adventure and see how well you can actually get silhouettes to work, because it's actually a really really valuable tool to composition and layout and being able to juxtapose shapes and sizes into your drawings. So I would highly recommend it. It would be a great, great exercise for someone who's maybe a little more scared to draw something like this because they feel like they don't know all the bits and pieces. There's always something you can work on if you're willing to do it, but you have to be creative with it. I think that's it's a hard part when people are starting out, is that they can't make up little exercises like that. They need to find someone that can recommend something like that. So I try to do that in my reviews. Like when I do reviews of people's work, is I don't try to tell them what I think would work for me. I look at what they're doing and what they're good at and kind of what I see in their work. And then I try to break it down from there, because there's no point in trying to have a one sort of size fits all recommendation for people. I just don't think that that's how anyone is wired. So, and probably because I'm wired so weird, I'm able to understand that more than someone who's just like, you just sit down with the book and you practice stuff until you're good at it. It's like, yeah, that works for some people, but not everyone. That's so cool. Man, this guy's imagination is just so badass. So I think what it is Moebius has inspired creative thought on this video. Honestly, I know that it probably sounds like I'm rambling, but at the same time, I mean, I think that's kind of what his work does. Is it puts you in a spot where you ponder things. You know, if you're looking at just a standard superhero book, you're probably not going to be as introspective, honestly. So credit to Moebius for the narrative here too. My cats are fighting outside the office because they can't come in. So they'll always want out when I'm doing this. Oh, this is funny. This is very different. Those laces are great. And the birds are cool too. This is nice. There's a few pretty good interviews with him on YouTube though. I mean, I think someone uploaded the documentary on him. I think it's in English. You can find maybe five pretty decent, at least English speaking interviews with him. But man, I wish that there was hundreds. It's funny because sometimes when I'll find something on YouTube and it's like in a different language, and YouTube does have an automatic translate though now, which is actually kind of handy. Look in your drop down, like on the gears, you can hit translate, and then you have to select a language. If you play with it, you'll figure it out. It's sometimes there's two steps to get it to work properly for a video, if, but that's helpful. But then you have to like literally sit and like read it. That's really cool. Yeah, man. That bug is great. The guy is awesome too, though, honestly. But and then a fancy shoe, sandal. Oh man, dude, look at that. he makes drawing look fun. That's the key to these really really good artists is they actually do inspire you to want to draw just because it looks so fun. Anything 3D has always got an appeal to me. Like if it looks like there's depth and like foreground and background and stuff that's far away or a big pit that you could fall into. Like I love stuff like that in drawings. I think it looks so cool. Man, this is a great drawing. This anatomy on the lizard's really cool. I like his like thigh muscles. I had three iguanas when I was in my 20s, early 20s. They were so cool. I had one that was huge. It's cool. Oh man, it's so awesome. His colors are great. It's funny because this reminds me of Otomo, because I know Otomo and Jean Giraud were not only friendly, but definitely he was an influence on him. And then they did pieces for each other, I'm pretty sure. That's so cool. God, that's great. This is really cool too. Oh, this is really cool. Big spread. This feels very 70s, although it probably was done earlier. 70s or like early 80s, but like it's got that kind of airbrushy sci-fi kind of feel to it. It's a cool pose. Solid. Mm-mm-mm. That's cool. Stories inside something. 1988. Mm-mm-mm. This page's hard to turn. Come on. There. Oh man, look at this. Oh my god. That's nuts. What in the world? Oh my goodness. Jungle Fred. It looks like Frazetta. Did any of you meet him? I bet there's someone that will watch this video that met him at a show or something like that. Supposedly he used to go to Comic Con like every year, but it was a little kind of before my time of knowing him. Oh, that's funny. That's a really cool shot. Love the colors again, man. The shadows, so nice. I saw Frazetta at Comic Con, but I did not go up to the table. It was pretty crowded, but I was walking down the aisle one year, and it was kind of probably my first Comic Con, first or second, and just like big kind of you know scene. Like I could tell like someone important was there, and I was like, man, who is that? And I was like, oh shit, it's that dude. I recognized him, but I didn't know his work that good then, except for just like there's sort of a everyone's sort of seen Frazetta's art kind of deal. Like I knew that it was that guy, like that did the Death Dealer or the Conan stuff, but I hadn't gone like full fanboy on him yet. That's cool. That's interesting. It's like similar shot, but different. See that? There's still so much Moebius that I want to collect. There's so many books I need to get. Just try to make it a goal to pick up one like every 6 months or something like that. There's a couple I've had my eye on, but they can get expensive if they're out of print, which makes it sort of a bummer. But if they keep doing new collections, that helps. I've seen different iterations of this style of piece. Oh yeah, these are cool. I forgot about these. Again, if you are stuck on more traditional drawing stuff, don't ever be intimidated to just try something a little more out there. The perspective videos that I'm doing now would really help people if people aren't your thing, because then at least you can draw stuff that will have depth. That could be a little bit more sort of things like this. It's just difficult if you don't understand perspective at all. You're not really going to be able to pull off stuff like this. Um, you know, and then you get into moving figures around in scenes, and you're just going to struggle with everything. So basic perspective 1, 2, and 3-point will really, really liberate you. And how do they teach perspective with basic shapes first, and the reason being is that everything is based on these like fundamental shapes. Those art books, every art book tells you that, and we want to get to the finished pieces. Stuff is all really cool. But even like stuff like this, I can kind of point out what I'm talking about is like this object is in front of this object because they overlap, and there's things going back into space. These edges and stuff like that start to get tighter. The detail gets tighter. It starts to wrap around this stuff. So if you can't feel the 3D form, you can draw stuff that looks similar to this, but it will probably look flat. It just won't have the same. There'll be like an X factor that your stuff will sort of lack. So, but give it a shot and see what happens. Kind of want to see more. You know what? We'll start Metallic Memories. Let me pause it. I'll do like 5 more minutes. Okay, let me pause this. Okay, we'll squeeze out a little bit more. So this was my first Moebius book, 100% Metallic Memories. I remember getting this way, way back and just being like, oh, yes. So what's really interesting is I saw the credits here. If I'm not mistaken, well, I'm friends with Mike Heisler. I think she's working at DC now, if I'm not mistaken. Carl Potts was Jim's editor or something. So we'll go a little quick though, just because it's so cool. My camera will try to start a new video at like 32 minutes in. So I'll say goodbye now, and we'll just take it until the video ends. And I'm not going to edit it together. It takes too long to process and render. But I'm nearly sure that I have an older video where I went through this book, at least to some extent, but it's all right. This is a new one. But yeah, Moebius is great. He's just an incredible, incredible artist. This stuff is so well drawn. It's so creative. I actually pulled out all my Blueberry comics because I wanted to check that stuff out. It's very detailed. It really is nuts. I don't know how fast he was doing those pages, but oh my god, it really is dense work. So this has got a little bit of that Crumb vibe. He may have been influenced by Robert Crumb, or so this is 1972. Yeah, this is very Crumb-like. So who knows? It's kind of cool. Yeah, this looks very Robert Crumb. Like you said, it's Crumb has his own sort of thing that he's into. Well, multiple things, but most of comic book artists probably would lean towards the Moebius thing because it's like cool, it's sci-fi, it's not as much slice of life. I mean, you're not going to get tons of like weird stuff like this, which generally has a lot of a wow factor for our crowd. This is so cool. I love excuse me, how the figure is so pale, and then it comes out and it does this. I wish I had the date for this particular drawing. I'd be curious of when that was. This is really cool. Man, that's so nuts. That's really cool. Oh man, that's great. It looks like the characters from Zelda. Those little dudes that pop out of the hole. I think it's Zelda. Is that what I'm thinking of? These guys were annoying. They shoot like seeds at you. Those nuts. Yeah, he was a master of so many styles of art. It's just crazy. Oh, this is that cool cowboy guy. Man, that is so sick. Oh, I love comic book art when it's good, or whatever you want to call this. I consider him comic book art, but it's also like, yeah, obviously illustration. But man, at its best, it's just the coolest thing ever. It's very Virgil Finlay. Oh man, it's crazy. He worked on this backwards running pose a lot. This is very similar to some of the other stuff that he did. That's a good one. Wow, that's cool. Look at that. I was tripping out on his signature for a second. This is cool. Yeah, this ended up being a fun video. I was like having trouble, I think, coming up with sort of what to say. It's not easy. I mean, honestly, there's some days where I just don't honestly feel like talking, but I need to do a YouTube video, or you know what I mean? Like this is really cool. Man. 77. Holy cow, dude, the guy was on fire. This is really cool. It's got a little bit of like the Terrata feel. Oh man. This is really an interesting piece. Okay. I'm gonna end the video in just a second because it's gonna cut off. So we'll stop it here. All right, y'all have a great day. Thank you so much for supporting my YouTube channel, and yeah, go get your draw on. Have some fun. Draw some stuff. It'll make you happy. All right, have a great day. He's like, go and do good. Okay, bye.